Okay, so I'm officially here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, DC. He has a YouTube channel, Make It Take It, Sports Betting Picks and Tips, where he gives out some very good sports betting advice for all the college basketball games, as well as the Super Bowl, which we'll be discussing today. DC, welcome to the WHS podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, so let's jump right into it. So, like I said, Super Bowl is this Sunday, and of course, the whole world's going to be watching. As of right now, the Eagles are 1.5 point favorites. Do you believe this is the right spread for a game like this, or should we be expecting something else?
I do. I think the line is set right. I think it should be close. Usually they'll set it at around a field goal if they're thinking that, but a game like this, they set it a little bit closer, which I think is accurate because I think there's people on both sides.
All right, so the last time these teams faced off, the Chiefs dominated the Eagles 42-30. Tyreek Hill had a monster game. KC scored on 6 of their 7 possessions. What should the total point expectation be going into this game? I'm currently at 50.5.
I think that's pretty accurate because I was thinking probably around a 24-21 game, something like that. I actually lean towards the under. These two teams, they can be high scoring, but the public perception of them is usually high scoring, like Mahomes throwing for a lot of yards. So I tend to lean towards the under on those because I think they inflate that in big games like the Super Bowl.
MVP of the game, Super Bowl MVP. Who do you have walking away?
I got Hurts.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I personally, I don't know. I think this might be a situation where we might be looking at a defensive player win MVP. Both defenses, like for this game, have been like very impressive throughout the playoffs thus far. Um, but I don't know. It could go either way. I think it's one of the more unpredictable MVPs, especially for this year. So with that being said, you mentioned offensive. So who do you think is going to finish with the most receiving yards in this game?
Receiving yards, I got to go Brown.
AJ Brown, okay.
Yeah.
And for rushing yards,
Rushing, I'm saying Sanders. I'm saying a Eagles dominated offensive game.
right? Fair enough. With the best rushing attack in the league. So sports betting is becoming a bigger and more competitive field over the years. For first-time bettors that may not know what they're doing, may not know the ins and outs of good bets, what advice would you give to those who are looking into doing it more?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because that's something that I talk about a lot on my channel. I have a unique approach to sports betting and where I want to look at it in a more logical way and not like the typical gambling thing that you would think. So my top suggestions are to stay conservative because you don't want to chase bets in a way that if you have a couple losses and you're down some money for the week or however you're going, you don't want to bet a whole bunch and try to win it back all at once. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. I've made it many times throughout the years. And by the way, I've been doing this for a long time. So I've made every mistake, lost a lot of money doing this to learn to be where I'm at today. And the same goes for if you're winning. If you have a bunch of wins in a row and you're up a bunch of money, I don't suggest that you go out and just throw that whole amount on the next game. So it's not having an emotional reaction to wins or losses, to keep with a plan, a conservative plan.
So it's funny that you bring it up because I remember my first bet that I ever won. It was for over $1,000. It was for the AFC Championship game last year. So like it can become very addicting. Especially if that's like your first like winning. So for people that like have that first like stroke of like I guess luck is the best word for it. With earnings like that, is it better to I guess like you said be more conservative and just keep winning throughout a week with smaller bets, or is the idea of winning like a bigger bet like more prominent, I guess?
I believe it's not always the exciting or appealing thing that people want to hear, but it's the same as investing in the stock market or anything like that. Slow and steady is what makes you money. Everybody wants to have that one hit where they run a bunch of money. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take a shot here and there. I took a bigger shot on the Eagles last week, and I probably will this week because the Eagles Super Bowl. But for the most part, I stick to the same amount. Because I know I'm going to be betting. I do my show. I'm on almost daily. So I'm going to be betting tomorrow. I'm going to be betting next week. So I try to stick to the same amount and slowly up it in increments as I go. That's the way to do it.
So for final Super Bowl predictions, can we get one right now?
I said I like around a 24-21 type of game with the Eagles winning. And I say that not because I want the Eagles to win or anything. You just feel that momentum this year. Remember when they won last time, there was just that feeling in the air. And I didn't know, is it because we're in the area? I don't know, but you feel it.
No, I definitely feel it right now. I mean, I feel every week with you see the poster in the background. A lot of people are going to be looking forward to this game. There are plenty of storylines going into it. But something I think's been kind of a little bit overshadowed for people that don't like these two teams. The halftime show has Rihanna coming back. I don't know. Have you ever listened to Rihanna stuff before?
I've heard Rihanna, but I don't pay much attention to the halftime shows or anything like that. I'm just all game.
All right, that's fair.
There are some prop bets about it, so I look into that sometimes, but I don't know enough about it to make
that was gonna be my question. So over under for 20 minutes for Rihanna's halftime show.
They are some of the prop bet wise. There's so many in the Super Bowl that there's some that are just so random and chance, like the coin toss and like who's going to punt first. There's so many factors that can determine that. I like to stick to the ones that are more tangible, like Mahomes' passing yards, like something like that, or like number of touchdowns that somebody's going to have. Some of the timings and how long is the national anthem, they can be fun to do. But again, with my theory on betting, you have to kind of limit your amount of plays because you can bet 10, 15 prop bets if you want. And if you win one or two of those and they have a nice payout, you're still losing money because you bet so many. You know what I mean? So it's good to limit those and stick to the more logical ones for me. That's what I suggest.
He is a very dedicated fan to the game. DC, I want to thank you so much for this little segment on sports betting, giving a little good advice. Let the WJS audience let you know where they can find you.
I am at Make It Take It Sports Betting Tips and Picks on YouTube, and you can find me. Look me up right on YouTube, my channel.
There you have it. Thank you for having us on, DC.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Go Birds.
Hey guys, this is PC here, the co-host, director, editor, you get the point. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure to like it, of course, and subscribe while you're at it. It would mean a whole lot to me. And make sure to check out the audio EPs that are always going to be in the description below.